Hello everyone, Jeff Siegel here, and today I want to introduce you to your goal-based eaters. So within the inner eater framework, your goal-based eaters are the ones that start to show up when you get a little bit more conscious, a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more discerning about how you're eating and how the foods that you're eating might impact your health, your longevity, or the environment. And I found that there are 4 general types of goal-based eaters that most people tend to fall into one of these buckets, or at different times in their life, maybe you've had one or more of these goal-based eaters sort of in charge of your diet and eating experience. So let me introduce you to these 4 so you can better understand, their gifts and their vulnerabilities. And as you're listening, I want you to think about which one of these goal-based eaters is most true for you. So the first one, and probably the one that's going to be the largest group of people and get the most attention, is what I call your weight loss goal-based eater. So this goal-based eater is all about managing your food intake to keep you in a caloric deficit so that you can lose weight or lose fat or change your body composition, right? The gift of this goal-based eater is the awareness of calories and understanding, what it means to eat within the proper balance for your body so that you're not consuming too many calories every day, but to hold your total daily energy intake in balance with your total daily energy output. And there are lots of tools and ways in which this goal-based eater might do that. It might do that through logging foods, through counting calories, through adopting any number of other dietary protocols that maybe limit macronutrients, right? High carb, low fat, paleo, keto, vegan, or maybe doing some time restricted feeding or some sort of fasting protocol that's limiting when those calories are coming into your body, right? All of these are essentially different strategies to get your body in a caloric deficit. And so this is also then the vulnerability of the weight loss goal-based eater, is that it turns your entire life into this sort of calorie management, calorie control experience. And this can be really, really infuriating and frustrating, and after a while really starts to just diminish and degrade your overall eating experience. Because instead of getting so much joy and pleasure from food, you're thinking about things in terms of caloric budgets. Does this fit into my total daily energy intake? Am I allowed to have this? Do I deserve this? Have I saved up enough calories? We start playing these crazy games of doing calorie accounting, and sometimes we kind of cook the books and we say, oh, well, that didn't count, but this one maybe counts some more. And so this is one of the vulnerabilities that you should look out for when the weight loss goal-based eater is in charge of your eating. All right? It is extremely vulnerable to getting lost in various games or getting overly attached to particular dietary protocols, kind of losing sight of the larger picture. So, 1, weight management, weight loss goal-based eater. 2, this is going to be your performance goal-based eater. Now, it's probably easiest to think about performance in terms of athletic performance. If you are training for a 5K or a marathon, or if you are lifting weights and want to build some muscle. But you can also think of this in terms of performance at work, on the job, in your career. Maybe performance in terms of giving a meeting, performance in terms of showing up for your colleagues, performance in terms of managing other people or interacting with customers or clients. The gift of this goal-based eater is helping you think proactively about how this food that you eat now is going to impact your brain and your body later. Right? So if you are preparing for a big race tomorrow, you want to be thinking about things like, are you getting enough carbohydrates to fuel that endurance event? If you're lifting weights, are you getting enough protein to stimulate muscle protein synthesis? If you're doing a lot of exercise, your performance goal-based eater wants to make sure that you're getting sufficient hydration and electrolytes and vitamins to keep your system running optimally, right? This guy or gal wants you functioning at your best all of the time. So it is also going to pay attention to, is this food potentially going to cause some digestive distress? or brain fog, right? It's going to say, ooh, maybe we should stay away from that because usually when I eat that, I don't feel very good later in the day, all right? Because I have to go give this big meeting and I want to be at my absolute best. I want to make sure that my biology is working for me rather than against me. And your performance goal-based eater is all about that, right? Now, the vulnerability of this is, again, kind of diminishing the joy of eating, because now all of a sudden food truly is just about fueling your performance. This goal-based eater can become totally obsessed with success, and that can come at the cost of actually listening to your hunger or fullness signals, come at the cost of listening to some of your desires, or even paying attention to some of the social cues that you're getting that might impact your eating, which is why all of your goal-based eaters must be held in context, in relationship with your picky eater, your instinctual eater, and your social eater, right? This is what forms your inner eater ecosystem. So next, number 3, this is what I call your health and longevity goal-based eater. Now, this goal-based eater is all about helping you live as long as possible, as healthy as possible. So it is going to be very attentive to things like vitamins, minerals. It's going to be looking for foods that are high in antioxidants, for foods that maybe are known to reduce the risk for certain chronic diseases. This inner eater is going to show up and say, you know what? Maybe we should stay away from that tuna or that fish because it has a lot of mercury. Or, you know what? Maybe we should stay away from this item because it has a lot of pesticides. Or, you know what? Maybe we should stay away from this way of cooking because it produces potentially carcinogenic compounds, right? It's going to be thinking about all of these things that are impacting your health at the cellular level. And that is its gift, is its ability to incorporate and bring in these insights from medicine, from nutritional science, and so forth, to help you better understand what's actually going on biologically to your body when you eat a lot of sugar, when you eat a lot of fat, what's happening to your microbiome when you consume a lot of foods that contain antibiotics, right? And it's going to be help regulate these things in a proactive way, again, to preserve your health and your longevity. Now, what is the downfall? The vulnerability of this is to get caught up in this longevity project, really to kind of deny our own mortality, to deny even aging itself, to become so hyper obsessed with nutrients that we get caught in this reductionist paradigm, which looks at food simply as vitamins and minerals and antioxidants and anti-inflammatory, pro-inflammatory, and we start to, again, lose the whole picture about what eating is and how it can nourish and sustain us in these other emotional and social dimensions. And now last but not least, the 4th big goal-based eater is your environmental and ethical goal-based eater. Now this is the eater that is looking out and saying, hey, hold on a second. Where is this food coming from? How was it grown? Right? Was the environmental impact of the ways in which this food was produced and shipped and transported and packaged before it actually arrived here in my supermarket or my restaurant or my plate? In addition, if there is animals involved, how are they treated? All right? What is the ethics, all right, behind the ways in which this food was raised? Were these animals given a good life, or were they, all right, factory farmed in really oppressive, all right, inhumane ways, often both for the animals and the workers that are at these factory farms producing things like beef and chicken? And so this goal-based eater, all right, has this gift of morality, of bringing in the moral and ethical element to consider how eating is not just about satisfying your own hunger. It's not just about meeting your own nutrient needs, but actually intimately interfaces with the health of the ecosystem, the environment, and the world, including all the plants, animals, and critters and creatures that are impacted from the ways in which our food systems, all right, are affecting this planet. And so this inner eater is going to be thinking about things like climate change, like eating local to reduce the carbon footprint of the foods, all right, thinking about things like regenerative agriculture, all right, how can we grow food and help raise animals in a way that actually helps nourish the soil instead of deplete it? How can we grow food in a way that actually helps replenish nutrients back in, as opposed to just spraying more and more pesticides, herbicides, and other chemicals on the food? How can we avoid large monocropping of things that decimate environments or lead to deforestation? Right? All of these are things, the gifts of the environmental and ethical goal-based eater. And so it's really a valuable goal-based eater to have. However, it also has vulnerabilities. All right? It can become evangelical. It can become hyper-obsessed with eating in a particular way that is simply impractical. It can also become one of these ways in which that you're going to get so focused on eating for X, Y, and Z future outcome that you end up ignoring what's actually going on in your body in this moment. So it can be really a disembodied way of eating if you're truly only focused on minimizing your environmental footprint or maximizing the ethics of the way the food is grown. Right? It needs to be held, again, within the context and honoring of your instinctual eater, picky eater, social eater, and all of the gifts and wisdom that they have to share with you. So taken together, these 4 big goal-based eaters, right? Weight management goal-based eater, performance goal-based eater, health and longevity goal-based eater, and your environmental and ethical goal-based eater tend to be the 4 big buckets that people fall into when they start to get a little bit more deliberate about choosing foods to achieve particular outcomes. Again, whether those outcomes have to do with how you look, how you feel, how you function, or how the world as a whole, all right, is performing, then we need to hold all of these and take them with all of our other inner eaters. So I hope that learning about these 4 goal-based eaters can help you better identify which of these goal-based eaters is most relevant to you and to your eating, which of these goal-based eaters has shown up in your life, and some of the gifts and the vulnerabilities that these goal-based eaters can bring to our eating decisions and to the ways in which we feed and nourish ourselves. And so until next time, Jeff Siegel here. Breathe, smile, and connect with your goal-based eaters.